Happy Monday, everybody. How's everybody doing? I just wanted to hop on here for a few minutes today because my children are currently behaving in the background. We'll knock on wood and cross our fingers that stays true for the remainder of this call. But I actually wanted to share with you something that's really, really important to me and something that I have been talking with women and their spouses about on their breakthrough calls the last couple of weeks. And that is how to get your spouse to understand your hormones. I'm not talking about, the names of them or, the medications you need or the supplements that you need. I'm talking about how to get them to truly understand how that's impacting you. Because most of the time, and I would say this is absolutely true for me, when I was kind of going through all of my hormone mess 10 years ago, was that one, was very disconnected from my body in the sense that I downplayed my symptoms because I thought they were normal. So I normalized them. It's normal to feel this way. And because I normalized them, I did not really fully realize the impact that my mood swings, irritability, PMS, painful periods, premenstrual rage were having on my spouse. And so this is something that's come up over and over and over again in phone calls this last couple of weeks as I've been talking to women and their spouses, because we do actually have spouses come on the phone call as well, especially if they are a good candidate for working with me in the Happy Hormones program. I really want spouses to be on board. So the reason that I'm saying this is because it is very common for women to say, when I say, how does your spouse feel about your mood swings or your irritability or your painful periods? And they will say things like, oh, he tolerates it. He tries to avoid me and stay out of my way. He supports me but doesn't really take me seriously. And he just doesn't understand how miserable I am. And so I'm curious in the comments if you have ever heard yourself think these things or actually say them out loud. Because there's a correlation here in flipping your understanding and your mindset. And if you believe that your symptoms are normal, your spouse is going to too. And your spouse is going to then try to compensate for what's missing in your relationship for that 1 week before your period, okay? Or 2 weeks, or if it's 3 weeks out of the month now. So you may be like most of the women that I talk to, unsure of how to communicate with your partner so that they know, your spouse knows that your symptoms aren't just an annoyance, but are actually a life altering symptom. When you minimize your own symptoms because your spouse doesn't understand, or because you're embarrassed at how those symptoms come out, like, hey, premenstrual rage does not feel great afterwards. Mood swings don't feel good afterwards either, because a lot of times we do and say things that we would not normally do if we were not under the influence of our hormones, okay? So minimizing your symptoms because your spouse doesn't understand or because you're embarrassed at how they come out. Um, I get it. I have been there. And pretty much like every woman that I have talked to on breakthrough calls says the same exact thing. The truth is, though, that when shame gets in the picture and um, and we are no longer communicating with our spouse, there's a huge disconnect now because they can't help you and you can't get better because we're not having honest conversations about this. So the truth is that keeping them in the dark about how your hormones are truly impacting you, your ability to get through the day, your ability to feel sane every week out of the month, your ability to connect with them, your ability to want intimacy with them, your ability to feel like you can handle motherhood and working outside of the home. All of those things, we can't communicate them. And then there's this huge gap in the relationship. So it actually, keeping them in the dark about how your hormones are really affecting you isn't doing anyone any favors, and it's actually keeping you stuck. So if you found that you are avoiding discussing your mood swings, hold on, sorry, my children are yelling. 1 second. Alexis, I'm recording a video. I'll be right down. Real life here, guys. Okay. So if you found that you have been avoiding discussing your mood swings, your heavy, painful periods, your monthly migraines, and how that is actually affecting you, and then what you're actually cutting off is not only are you keeping yourself from getting better, but you are actually m- missing the fact that you are also impacting your spouse. And when we don't have those conversations, we don't actually get to hear how it's impacting them either. And that maybe they truly miss the person that they married. Maybe they truly miss having intimacy with you on a more regular basis. And they just haven't been able to say it because the times that they say it are not the most ideal. Like, right? So usually they're bringing that up when we're right around our cycle and we're just like, get away from me. And so then, of course, they're not going to talk about it because we've just basically yelled at them for having a need, right? Which totally guilty of this, you guys. If 10 years ago, this would have been my story. So there's no shame. There's no shame in that. But I'm just saying we got to have some honest conversation. So it is time to get honest. I know that it's scary, which is why I'm going to actually kind of coach you through how to approach that conversation, okay? And when I say how to approach that conversation, I'm not trying to convince your spouse of something. I'm trying to just break open the conversation so that you can get honest with each other and have a meaningful conversation about your goals as a family, what you actually want out of relationship with each other, and how your hormones are impacting that. So it can go something like this: honey, babe, home slice, whatever you call your spouse. I need to talk to you about something. And I need you to listen without offering any advice. Okay. So, anyone else have spouses that love to give advice and input before you're finished talking? Or is that just mine? That's mine. Okay. Um, you can say something like this: I have been struggling with my mood swings. I have been struggling with my painful periods. I am tired of losing my income because I can't get out of bed for 3 days out of the month. I am tired of losing my poop on my children. That's no way that I want to raise them. And it's either I invest in my hormone health now or we need to set aside a savings account for therapy later, which is not cheap. Okay. I have been struggling with insert the blank. And it's making it hard for me to be the mom and the wife that I know that I am. I'm tired of missing out on fun activities because I feel like garbage all the time. I don't feel like myself. I feel like I get 1 week out of the month where I feel normal. And that's not enough because I can't actually fulfill my calling or my purpose when I feel like junk. I'm tired of having no sex drive. I miss intimacy with you. I want to have the energy to initiate sex again. I want to have the energy to actually enjoy my kids and not be overwhelmed with the constant demands. I've normalized this for a long time, but now I know that there is a way that I can feel better. Do you support me in figuring this out? And just see what happens. This is not about convincing them to do a program. It's not about convincing them to, you're not trying to change their mind on anything. You're trying to open up the conversation so that they can understand how it's truly impacting you and that you can fully understand how it's impacting them. Because when we do that, now we have teamwork and now we have something that we can work with in getting better. So I will just tell you a story. When I was going through all of my hormone stuff 10 years ago, I would have like premenstrual rage. Like it was awful. I like basically had to lock myself in a room for 3 days out of the month. And my husband didn't know like what was wrong with me. He's just like, gosh, I'll just avoid you if this is how it's going to be. Um, but something clicked in me. I had all of this internal guilt of, I can't spend money on myself. I don't want to spend money on myself to get better because that's taking money away from my family. And therefore, I'm just going to stay in this cycle. Okay, the truth is, you guys, that my mother was emotionally abusive for most of my life. And when I would have this premenstrual rage come out, I felt like it clicked in me. Like, this is not about money. This is about the future of my family. And if I don't get this taken care of, I'm going to be recreating some of those patterns that I have tried so hard not to step into. So this isn't about finances. This isn't really even about, investing in your health to get better. It's actually about investing in your family, figuring out what it's really costing you, and doing some of that work to get better. So I hope that this helped you kind of bridge the gap in those conversations. If you are tired of feeling moody before your period, you're tired of how your mood swings are impacting your relationship, you want to get your libido back, you want to have energy to help manage your children as you're homeschooling and dealing with all of COVID times, then I want to invite you to book a breakthrough call with me. And we're going to figure out exactly where you're stuck, what is keeping you, no, having those symptoms. We're going to talk about how that's impacting your family, how your spouse can be supported in this, how to have some of those conversations with your spouse, etc. But ultimately, the whole purpose of that call is to get you out of the funk that you're in so that you can actually enjoy the holidays with your family. Because those added stressors, they're not helping. Okay, they're not helping your marriage relationship because now we've got financial stuff on top of holiday stuff, on top of all of the other things that you've already been experiencing. So I'm going to drop a link in after this video. If you want to schedule a time, just go ahead and put your hand up and I'll make sure to get that link over to you. Drop an emoji below. If this helped you, I would love to hear in the comments what was the most helpful for you. And excuse me, we will be in touch.